So I know this video is stretched kind of weird. This was made for a TikTok video, so upright. I'm trying to get my YouTube back up and like doing something. I have another YouTube channel that's gonna have my main focus, but I want to start posting on my just everyday life channel a little bit too. So what I'm doing here is basically like I wanted to make a video about one of my Lego sets. This was the Bumblebee car. It was like kind of a limited edition thing, and I needed that. And basically what you see me doing here is I am going to be transforming it into the actual Bumblebee character, because this little beetle does transform into the actual Bumblebee. So while I do that, I'm gonna shoot the shit a little bit. It's been a minute since I have been on YouTube. Back in the day, I used to do like where I'd get my friends and talk to them about like different stuff going on. Like we would just have a little kiki. I unfortunately don't have any friends anymore. Not like that, but like also like I was a teenager then. I'm an adult now. A lot has changed. I've moved. A lot of people I've known have grown apart. I didn't go to college, so I think that kind of slowed a little bit of me progressing with people. You know, that was my well, obviously like I didn't go to college because of circumstance, but also that's my prerogative. And now I'm just like in a stage of rebuilding back up life, you know, whatever that means. Of course, like the world is kind of shit right now, or sorry, it's kind of crap right now. So it's hard. It's definitely a hard standpoint to build back up life. But yeah, I also do want to build up community again, or like collab with different people, because I do miss doing those videos where I just like sit and talk with my friend for like an hour or 30 minutes, and like we have a good laugh, we have a good cry, we just, you know, like I miss the vulnerability that humanity used to have, like, or like I felt like I had with humanity, you know. I feel like nowadays it's like really hard to get people to just like with you, and like back then it seemed so easy. And like maybe that's part being older, maybe that's such a division in life, you know, which is also something I've experienced a lot of lately, is like division from people, you know, division from communities I once seen myself in, and like realignment with communities that had pushed me away. I am like queer. I'm obvious. Well, it's not obvious, but I am black. You know, y'all could think I may be like a really dark Hispanic person or something, but I'm black. I'm queer. I have a vagina. And these are all like parts of me that I have had all separate different struggles with, and I am now sorry if I'm umming a lot now, and I'm now coming back in tune with like all these different parts of myself. So growing up, like, I guess this is just gonna be the chat. Growing up, you know, I read at a very early age, you know, but what people don't understand is that was forced on me by like reciting Bible passages. So I have like heavy religious trauma, but that led me into speaking kind of like the Queen's English. Like, you can hear my voice now. Like, do I necessarily sound black? No, I sound a little country, but black, I guess not. Whatever that means, right? Like, that is just a perception. Like, no one sounds black or white. Now, I will say some people do force accents that a majority may have, or use slang terms that a majority may have, but do they sound black? No, they sound like a dumbass. I mean, let's be for real. But like, yeah, so my mom, she wanted me to like be she didn't, I don't know if she wanted me to be a strong reader, but she made me a strong reader, which led me to speaking the Queen's English in a certain manner with certain mannerisms, and that led me to low-key be bullied within my family, you know. Growing up, like, it kind of felt like everyone thought I was better than them, and I was a child and I didn't know what being better was like. I had to force myself to live my own world because people pushed me so bad out of theirs, and I didn't have a chance to strongly connect with black culture, because it's like every time I was around black people, I was made to feel like I was doing it wrong. And so that led me to have surprisingly not as many white friends as you would think, but like I definitely hung out with white people. When I became of age to like go to middle school, high school, I chose to go to the whiter schools, but it was mostly because like even at that age I wanted a certain level of education and I qualified for it, you know. But I actually did not have as many white friends as you would think. I had a lot of like Hispanic friends, or Latinx friends, and Asian friends actually, because just I guess just how like I vibe. Like I still was not like no, I can't say that. I still was not cultured in the way that a lot of white people would want me around their family, you know. And that was like honestly a struggle, but nowadays I do like, I love the skin I'm in. I'm always like the blacker the better, you know. Like I rah like at dawn I believe black women deserve everything, even the ones that tore me down when I was younger and ostracized me. Like I hope they have all the best things in life, because at the end of the day, like we go through so much shit and like we're constantly getting put down on, and like we kind of just return that cycle. And is that really the people's fault that they're just like playing into the hands of that cycle? Like I hope they break out of it, and I hope they teach their children better, but I will never hold it against them because we're moving forward, we're grown now, you know. Second, being a woman or being a person that has a vagina, because as I've gotten older I've realized that my gender identity has come into play a lot too. I currently identify with the non-binary term, but it's not like in a strict way as some people would identify with it. It's more in a spiritual standpoint. I just feel like I float a gray line so well. I am not entirely masculine. I am not entirely feminine. I probably do lean more into masculinity, but not in a toxic way. It's just like how I carry myself, how I care for others. It comes from more of like a protection standpoint, and this is what I've been told, you know. And so navigating life as someone who has these body parts that all of a sudden make people deem me to have to act in a certain type of way, and I don't, it's crazy. You know. And then I was condemned by like my close family for that too, you know. I grew up in a very southern religious household, so, and even though people in my family were doing gay things or doing like queer things, they would double down and always dip back and be like, well, you're wrong because you're like just full sending it, because like I refuse to fake it. I had some horrible life experiences before my time in order to try to please people when it came to like my sexuality, and so therefore like I refuse to be anything I wasn't, because like I had already experienced way too much that I didn't need to in order to just come back around and be like, I don't know, like this is not me. Like I know this is not me. This is like, and I'm not people pleasing. I'm not a people pleaser, so therefore no. Yeah, and so like I like, and with that, you know, like me and my current partner, we talk about a lot like how being queer as a woman can definitely change your perception of womanhood. Yeah, and it definitely has changed my perception of womanhood. You know, because like I still want to be a mother, and like I think people find that interesting because like I'm, on top of being a masculine presenting person, like I'm and also like identifying as non-binary, you know. I still want to like carry children and be a mother, and like those kids, I want them to call me mom. Like it's a very, like for me it's not complicated because that's just how I want to live my life, but I do know that that confuses people, and it mostly comes from a standpoint of, I personally think that motherhood, like something coming out of you is just, it changes everything. And like you can't, for me, I want the title. I don't want just the, oh, I did that, you know? So it's like very complicated. Like everything's just been super complex. And these are just things I've learned about myself and I've grown into. So like I do tell people like they them pronouns is cool, but I don't mind being called she, and I also don't mind being called he. Like I know how I walk through the world, and I understand that not everyone perceives that as such, but it's very odd with me too, because I feel like people naturally gravitate towards they pronouns. Like honestly, the people who she me to death are like family members, and I feel like that's just a longing for something that they know is not there, and also it's kind of like a disrespect to like try to keep me in a place that they feel like I should be in. But I also have family members that just call me by my name and like maybe refer to me as she when they're talking to other people, but like they call me by my name. And I think it's because I honestly exude like what it means to float in a gray space of gender, you know? And like obviously like, well, it doesn't obviously relate to sexuality because gender and sexuality are not mutually exclusive. Like as we can see, we got a bunch of people out here that are like she they, but they're definitely in very heteronormative spaces when it comes to their relationships and like the activities they involve themselves in. But like I also know that I liked women at a very young age, you know. And for me, like I started navigating the intersectionality of my life at 12, you know. And like at first it was being black and talking like you're white and all these things, and then it became like, oh, you're gay but we're Christian, and like an ostracization from like certain people in my family. And like noticing like as I changed, it became more clear in like how I'm going to present myself, how I was being treated, and what actually became the focus of like people's life when they interacted with me was more so like, oh, like we can't fix you, we're not going to hang with you, we're not going to treat you the same. And even like with my own parents, like I really feel like me presenting masculinely and like obviously showing that like I like this thing or I am going to be this certain kind of way changed like how me and my parents navigated our relationship, especially my mother. And I feel like it took a lot of light off the things that actually matter and put this big spectrum on like how can I fix you, because all of a sudden it didn't matter if my grades were good. It was like, we're going to church, they're going to talk about you in church, just so you know, we're going to do this, I'm praying for your soul. And like everything else kind of fell to the wasteland, and I suffered a really great depression for a really long time. Like honestly, like that's probably one of the reasons why I could never stay super consistent. It's like I was constantly losing and gaining people out of my life, and I was fighting a battle for so long about like, you know, the fact that like I have to keep going on as me, and no one can stop me. Like I have to make sure no one can stop me. But also like I grieved that loss. Like I when I really think about it, I think I was grieving the loss of my relationships with the people around me before they were ever even fully gone, because I knew that like as we get to certain points in our life, everything changes. Like you're already showing me where you're going to lean into, you know. And like I'm seeing you push me this way and not push me positively in life, so I already know like I'm failing, like, and I'm going to fail at this specific point in life, you know. And like that pulling me away from my friends, which needed to be my support system, but I drained them because I was a child and like I didn't know how to emotionally regulate, and like I leaned on the shoulders of other children to help me, and like it harmed a lot of relationships. So here I am at this day, 27, building Legos, living life, being loved well and loving well finally, and still navigating a new space of like rebuilding community and the people I need and want around me, you know. It's a very like it is a new trial, and I welcome it with open arms. And like I have just honestly cultivated, like I'm really focusing on cultivating like my mentality and how I want to live my life individually, so that hopefully when I go out and I'm existing in spaces, I attract those things back to me. So back to the Lego. As you can see, I ran off. I know that was crazy, a crazy rant, and then I'm just gonna be like, boom, let's get into that. But like, that's really all I have to say. If y'all have any other questions about where I've been, how I'm doing, let me know in the comments. Make sure to like this. Let me know if you like the Lego build. I went off to go grab the nameplate that Bumblebee comes with, and also shortly after this I found out that like this thing is not going to fit on the shelf I had it on, so I have to refold it back into a car later. But like, here we go. This is Bumblebee in his full glory, in his transformer form. You know, a little spin around. We got the little wings in the back. Like, yeah, this was a really dope build. I actually had to build it twice because our cats broke it one time, but like, it's always fun to build. And you know, I really like this Lego. I wanted it so bad, so I don't care. I'll build it a million times. Anyway, love you, Boots. See ya.